I'm going to be talking about the x and y intercepts and how you can use those to graph lines on a graph. So what you'll notice is that the x-axis, the part where the line crosses that axis is called your x-intercept. At your x-intercept, y is always 0, and then x is the value at which the x-intercept is crossing the x-axis. So it crosses here at 4. The y-intercept is the part at which the line crosses the y-axis. So you can see that the y-axis always has an x value of 0, and then the y value is the value where it crosses that axis. So x-intercept, y is always 0. Y-intercept, x is always 0. This is very important to remember as you start to graph lines and use the intercepts, knowing that the y-intercept has x of 0 and that the x-intercept has y of 0. So I'll show you a few examples and work them out, and they are examples from the packet that I have attached to this video. So the first example I want to work out, this comes from number 1 in the packet, and this is the equation 4x plus y equals 5. And you are asked to write the x and y intercept. So find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Now, if you remember, I said earlier that when y is equal to 0, that is your x-intercept. And when x is equal to 0, that is your y-intercept. So you want to use this information and substitution to solve this equation for your intercepts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first substitute 0 in place of y into the equation. So I have 4x plus, instead of y, I'm putting 0, and it equals 5. On the other side, so for the y-intercept, I'm going to replace x with the value of 0. So I'm going to substitute 0 in for x to solve the equation. Now I'm going to solve this equation for x, and I'm going to solve this equation for y. So right now I have 4x equals 5. So I divide both sides by 4, and x is now 5 over 4, or 1 and 1/4. For the other one, 4 times 0 is 0, so I have 0 plus y equals 5, which means y is equal to 5. So what this tells me is that my y-intercept is at 5, so it's the point 0.05, if I were to write it as a coordinate. And for the other one, the x-intercept, my x is 5 over 4, 5/4, and y is equal to 0. So this is my x-intercept, and this is my y-intercept, and the point at which those cross the x and y axes. Now I'm going to show you number 6 from the worksheet. So for number 6, again, I'm going to do the same thing. So when y is 0, this would be the x-intercept, and when x is 0, this would be the y-intercept. So substitute 0 in place of y. And for the other equation, substitute 0 in place of x. Okay, so I'm going to solve the first equation for x. So I have 3x. 6 times 0 is 0, so 3x equals 18. Divide by 3. X is then equal to 6. For the other one, I have 3 times 0 is 0, so 6y equals 18. Divide both sides by 6, and y is equal to 3. So that means my x-intercept is the point 60, and my y-intercept is the point 0.03. So the next set of problems, these are where you have to solve for the x-intercepts and then graph them. So we're going to start out, I skipped this one, number 12. So number 12, it's the same thing, so you want to solve it again for your y equals 0 and x equals 0. So when y equals 0, I substitute 0 in place of y. So I have 7x plus 5 times 0 equals 42. So 7x equals 42. Divide both sides by 7, and x is equal to 6. So that means my x-intercept is the point 60. And then my y-intercept, I will set x equal to 0, and I'll substitute 0 in place of x. Seven times 0 is 0, so I just have 5y equals 42. Divide both sides by 5, and that leaves me with y equal to 42 over 5. And if you want to write that as a mixed number, that would be 8 and 2/5. So that means that when x is 0, y is 42 over 5 or 8 and 2/5. So that is your y-intercept, and this one was my x-intercept. Okay, so the next part, this is number 2 from the next page, and this is where you have to graph these by solving for the intercepts. So what I'm going to do, exact same thing I already did. I'm going to set y equal to 0 and solve for it, and then I'm going to set x equal to 0 and solve for it. So the same thing I did in the past 3 examples. So when y equals 0, you have 2x plus, if I substitute 0 in place of y, this is 3 times 0, which is just 0, so I'm not even going to bother writing that, or I could just put plus 0 equals 12. For the other one, when x equals 0, well, that's 2 times 0, which is 0, so I just have 3y equals 12. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and y is equal to 4. For this one, I have 2x equals 12, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 6. So what that means is that when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 6, and when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 4. So these are my 2 intercepts. This is my x-intercept, this is my y-intercept. So if I were to graph that on a graph, okay, and we'll say each of these, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I have to find the point 6, 0, so that would be the point right here. This is 6, 0, this is the x-intercept. My y-intercept is at 0, 4, which would be right here. And that's my x-axis is 0, 4. And then I would just draw a line connecting those 2 points. And that is the line that represents the equation 2x plus 3y equals 12. And then my last example, this is number 9 from the worksheet. And I'm going to do, again, y equals 0 and x equals 0. So you'll notice in every single one of these problems, to find the axis intercepts, you always have to set y equal to 0 and x equal to 0 to find your 2 intercepts to be able to graph it on a plane. So when y equals 0, this is negative 10x plus 0 equals 60. And when x is equal to 0, this is 0 plus 15y equals 60. Okay, I'm going to then, this is negative 10x equals 60, so just simplify, and 15y equals 60. So what you could do is you could just skip this step of writing 0 because we know it's 0. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10, and for this I'm going to divide both sides by 15. So this means x is equal to negative 6, and this is y is equal to 4. So again, when I graph this on my coordinate plane, we'll do it this way. Okay, this is the point negative 6, 0, and this is the point 0, 4. Okay, so I need to find 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the point 0, 4. And then I need to find the point negative 6, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's negative 6, 0. And then I connect those with a line. And this would be best if you use a ruler or a straight edge to do that. Here's the line that represents the equation negative 10x plus 15y equals 60. So that is everything you need to know about graphing with the x and y intercepts on a plane.